Stories Told by Hands. The first story.
People, you see, they're just like their hands. I mean, if you want to know a person well, you must look at his hands. His hands will show you his whole life, whether he is well off or not, even whether he is good-hearted or not. Of course, faces may tell lies, but not hands.
I was a farmer most of my life. My rice paddies were on the other side of the mountain, so I went there nights to water them. On the way, I saw water demons floating by on the water of the reservoir. Get distracted, and you will be bewitched into the water. At a time like that, I would pluck up my courage by tightening my grip on the shaft of the shovel I was carrying. That's how I'll have lived my whole life, clenching my fist.
My husband lived comfortably from the day he met me. He had suffered a lot after losing his mother and father as a child. So, feeling sorry for him, I always tried to be nice to him. Since he was such a picky eater, I always cooked whatever he liked to eat. My son is not like that. But then, my grandson took after my husband. There are plenty of vegetables everywhere now, but kids these days don't eat them, do they? This is my grandson's favorite food I have just bought in the town. It makes me so happy to watch him gobble it up. I feel full myself just by watching him eat.
Hey, listen, I may be short and small, but I've been second to none when it comes to strength. In this village, there is a big stone called Death Rock that weighs 122 kilograms. Weaklings wouldn't dare to lift it. But for me, it was a piece of cake. I used to work so much all over the country as a Kenchi stonemason. But as I grew older, I had to admit that no one can fight the years. Now, I am a farmer with about 2.5 acres of rice paddies. Machines help me to farm them all on my own. I also have Japanese apricot trees. You need to trim them on time if you want a good harvest.
How can I earn money enough to feed my children? I have lived my whole life focusing on this question. These days I have nothing to do. Perhaps that's why I am feeling uneasy and bored like this. Even so, whenever I try to work a little, I feel better again. It's aronia harvest time now, and in fact, I am just coming from the aronia field. If you work there, you get a free bucket full of aronia. I have heard that aronia is so good for health. I am going to eat it all by myself, hoping that it will keep me healthy.
I am growing mainly rice, barley, and wheat. These hands of mine have worked so hard throughout my life to feed me and my family.
The most important thing in farming is rain. The moment I open my eyes in the wee hours of the morning, I check first if it rains or not. Afterwards, I need something to do until daybreak. So, I try to find some chores to do, even if it means simply twisting a straw rope like this. It's so strange. Strange indeed. I mean, these hands of mine. As long as my hands are working, I feel calm and peaceful. It's been like this all my life. I used to work so hard that I didn't even realize how dear my children were to my heart. After weaning my babies, I could not feed them enough, not even enough rice. They have all grown up now and make a good living, so I feel relieved. These days, though, since the operation on both legs, I haven't been able to move around much, barely managing to eat a little bit of food 3 times a day. Mrs. Poussin down yonder has just brought me some boiled sweet potatoes. Only now, my hands are peeling these sweet potatoes for me to eat. But before, there was never anything left to put in my mouth. My hands were always busy putting food in my children's mouths. I am better off these days since I have enough food to eat. Though I live alone, I should say my life is not so bad.
Now, thanks to the reservoir, we can get plenty of water simply by opening the waterway. In the old days, however, droughts used to make us do terrible things, like grabbing each other's throat over even a small amount of water. The topsoil of rice paddies must be kept smooth, and even in order to draw in water and plant the seedlings. We had to use our hands to make every inch of the paddy's even surface. It was literally a back-breaking job. Once, I couldn't bear the suffering anymore and took off for Seoul after breaking into pieces my A-frame carrier and whatnot. These days, however, my hands are enjoying an easy time, doing more resting than working. With too much time on our hands, though, my wife and I tend to argue a lot.
At the time, we did a lot of tobacco farming. One summer, after picking tobacco leaves, we were heading back home when our motorcycle and dump truck smashed into each other. I had an operation on one leg and ended up having that leg shorter than the other. I have been walking with a cane ever since. Even now, my sore leg is killing me. But I can't keep the field idle, can I? The field is covered with barang weeds. What should I do? I have no choice but to go over there and put my hands to work.
My father lived his whole life without ever touching dirt with his hands. My mother had to do all the work and bear all the hardships. So, I have tried not to take after my father. My hands have never had a moment to rest in my life. I may look healthy, but inside, I do have aches and pains. I know I need to stop working too hard, but the old habits die hard. When I see any work to be done, I just have to do it myself. That's the way I am. I have about an acre of rice paddies and some chestnut trees to take care of.